Hello one and all, Jasper here, and I'm sure we've all had this question asked to us, or thought of it at one point. If you declared a trial by combat, who would you want to be your champion? And many people would pick Barristan Selmy, Arthur Dane, Bobby B in his prime, and a few others. But there is a specific character that I think is greatly overlooked in this discussion. A character that is not only more likely to win facing against those I just named previously, but would demolish them. I am talking about none other than Zombie Gregor, aka Robert Strong in the books. I will also be focusing on the book version because this is a book channel, and the book version is arguably way more terrifying than the show. Now, some of you might be thinking that I'm talking out of my ass here. Why am I so confident that no one could beat this abomination of science and likely magic in a fair fight? Because Zombie Gregor is much stronger than you realize. You see, we all know that Gregor Clegane is a genetic freak, likely having gigantism, and only suffering from some of the minor side effects, that being headaches. Most people with gigantism have it a lot worse, suffering from mobility issues, lung issues, heart issues, aches and pains in the joints, vision complications, effects in the metabolism leading to mild/moderate obesity, diabetes, and high blood pressure. The headaches are the only thing I can recall being mentioned in the books, so I think it's safe to assume he doesn't suffer from these other symptoms given he is a peerless warrior, or he is such a tough son of a bitch who works so hard these issues no longer affect him. Like people who outgrow asthma. It's still inside their body, but they have developed in one way or another where it isn't a hindrance on their life anymore. If he did have these issues in life and simply worked through the pain to become one of the greatest warriors to ever exist, then that would only amplify what he is capable of as a zombie. Why? Because Robert Strong, unlike Gregor Clegane, has no limits. According to my lazy research, most humans are only able to output 60% of our strength. We limit ourselves to avoid serious lasting damage, though trained athletes do a bit better, being able to output 80%. Yet Robert Strong, being a zombie, means he no longer has these limitations. He can give 100% of his power every time. Now, 20% might not strike someone as that big of a difference, but let's take this literally. The highest amount of weight deadlifted was set by none other than Hafthor Julius Bjornsson, the actor for The Mountain, at 1,105 pounds or 501 kilograms. If he was a zombie, in theory, he should be able to deadlift an extra 221 pounds or 100 kilograms, making it a total of 1,326 pounds and 601 kilograms. I don't think I need to tell you that is a massive amount of weight. Most people can't even deadlift 221 pounds by itself. That's how significant the strength increase can be. Now put that strength into wearing thicker armor, swinging a heavier sword, and nobody could outmuscle the Mountain. And keep in mind, in the books, Gregor is huge. Hafthor is actually a good bit smaller than him, being over a foot shorter than Gregor, as he's described to be just under 8 feet tall in the books. If he was kicking around in real life, he would be the 31st tallest man of all time and the 6th tallest living man if he was alive. He is also 40 pounds heavier than his actor, though to be fair, Hafthor retired in 2020 and only recently came out this year, so he could have lost a lot of weight when I began doing research. Brian Shaw, 4-time world's strongest man and still active in the sport, at his heaviest would weigh 440 pounds. So Gregor is a foot taller than most modern strongmen and seems to have just as much strength as any of them. And height can be very important in a fight. It gives you more reach. Yet these bonuses that I mentioned are just the icing on top of a delicious cake. The real good stuff is right underneath it. And what do you see when you cut into it? Endurance and constitution. All the bonuses I mentioned before were things that Gregor was already superior at compared to most anyone else. And constitution as well, since I don't think anyone will argue that there is someone who can take more punishment than Gregor. However, the bonuses Gregor gets regarding endurance and constitution are so drastic that even if you ignore everything else I've been talking about, these two alone would be enough for Gregor to demolish everyone who stands against him. Gregor's biggest disadvantage in battle was his endurance. Even if he was strong, the fact that he was wearing thicker and heavier armor, despite arguably not needing to, would slow him down and make it easier to tire him out. That was Oberyn's strategy against Gregor in the trial by combat. Dance around while poking him in the gaps to try to get him all tuckered out. Now, how well does that work when you have a guy who doesn't feel pain and doesn't get tired?
I believe I hold the distinction of...
By making him a zombie, you took his most significant weakness and made it non-existent. You're not going to tire him out, and death by 1,000 cunts is never going to work. You're going to need a decisive and vital blow to finish him off. And even then, that might not be enough. The show has the bastard survive a dagger to the face, which personally, I think is bullshit. The one rule of zombies is the head is the place to kill it. So unless Winds of Winter reveals the same shit happening in 2064, I will assume that you actually can kill this guy like your more stereotypical zombie. Now to be fair, with how little we've seen in regards to Robert Strong, there may be some weaknesses to becoming a zombie, such as slower movement, though I feel like this isn't that big of an issue, even if you take into account that the show saying,
"He's freakish big and freakish strong, and quicker than you'd expect for a man of that size."
That doesn't mean he was exactly quick. This turtle here is surprisingly quick, but I'm pretty sure most of us could beat it in a race. Most fighters were already faster than him, and would need to rely on bobbing and weaving to defeat him, but as I already stated, that's not going to work anymore. The best and really only chance you have at killing Zombie Gregor is using a blunt weapon like a warhammer or mace to crash against his helmet, though since all his armor pieces are even thicker than most, good luck with that. Really the only one to have a chance at winning would be Prime Bobby B, but he would need to get past both Gregor's superior range, his thick as fuck shield, and still damage his head through his helmet. My money is still on the Dead Mountain. The only things that could reliably beat him are the real fantasy bullshit in the franchise, like dragons, giants, and children of the forest with those fucking grenades. Unless you're part of any of these species, then I'm putting most of my gold on the living dead. But what do you all think? Am I overhyping Zombie Gregor and you think characters like Barristan and Arthur could still cut his head off like carving a cake? I'd love to hear all of your thoughts in the comments down below. In the meantime, thank you, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.